My name is Nicole, and the night I learned what my husband truly thought of me, the ground under our marriage cracked like thin ice. The dinner looked perfect. Polished floors, white linens, investors with fixed smiles, a string quartet that made the room feel expensive. I did what I always did. I greeted people by name. I guided them to their seats. I made sure the fragile parts of his image held together. I had done this for years without asking for credit. I kept the numbers clean. I kept the calendar tight. I kept our life balanced. He liked that I ran the quiet half of our world. He liked that I solved problems before he noticed them. He liked that when he walked into rooms like this one, nothing shook. I stood near the bar watching him charm a table when I heard his voice behind me. He was close. Too close. He leaned toward a man in a gray jacket and spoke as if the music could hide the words. "She is nothing," he said. "Just a wallet. That is all. Once this round closes, I will not need her anymore." I did not turn. I did not gasp. The sentence entered me like a cold needle and kept going. The quartet played. Glasses clinked. The night went on as if our vows had not just been reduced to a number. I set my empty glass on the bar and walked out. No scene. No warning. The lobby lights washed the color from the world. My heels clicked on stone. Each step sounded like a countdown. At home I went straight to the desk. I opened our accounts. 4 years I had moved money between bills, savings, and business needs. I knew the rhythm of our life like a heartbeat. Tonight the rhythm broke. Small withdrawals and odd patterns. Restaurant charges on nights he claimed he worked late. Transfers to names I did not recognize. Then one line that made my hands still. $250,000. Wired at midnight. Sent to a company I had never seen. No memo. No purpose. No permission. I printed the statement and stared at the ink. I thought of the sentence he said. Just a wallet. He had not only insulted me. He had planned to use me and discard me. He had already started. I called my sister, Claire. She arrived fast, hair still wet from the rain, eyes steady. I pushed the papers toward her and said, "Read." She read. She asked for nothing extra. When she looked up, her jaw had set. "This is not only betrayal," she said. "This is theft. You will not let him bury it." I nodded. The fear that tried to climb my throat slid back down. I did not want a fight in a kitchen. I wanted a plan that could stand in a courtroom. Short steps. Clean proof. No drama. Only facts. We started a list. Freeze funds. Secure copies. Find counsel. Protect our child. Nothing took more space than those 4 lines. I made copies of everything. Paper copies went into envelopes. Digital copies went to a new secure drive and to an encrypted folder. I labeled each file with full words, not digits, so no one could claim confusion. I wrote dates out in long form. I wrote times with hours as words. Claire opened her phone. "There is a lawyer who does not blink," she said. "Her name is Mara. She will meet us in the morning. Tonight you do not confront him. Tonight you harden the proof." I wanted to storm back to the hotel. I wanted to say the one sentence that had been burning since the bar. But I did not move. I stayed in the chair. I scanned the rest of the month. I drew a timeline. I circled a series of withdrawals that matched weekends when he claimed he was too busy to travel with us. Patterns started to line up like tracks. Near midnight my phone buzzed. An unknown number. One line of text. "Stop looking or it gets worse." No name. No bluff. Just a push. Claire saw my face change. She read the screen and put the phone face down. "Good," she said. "They are nervous. Nervous people make mistakes. Screenshot it. Email it to yourself. Then place the phone on the table and leave it there." I did. We sat in silence while the printer hummed. I thought of our daughter asleep 2 doors away, safe for now in a world where parents do not betray. I thought of the man at the dinner telling someone I was a tool he could toss. I closed the laptop. I folded the statement with the midnight transfer and slid it into the top of the folder. I wrote one sentence on a sticky note and stuck it to the front. "I am not a wallet." It was not a slogan. It was a reminder. Claire stood to leave. "At 8, she said. "We go to Mara. 10 she files. By noon, you will have a judge's order to freeze that transfer. By evening." He will understand that the numbers do not belong to him. Will he fight? I asked. He will, she said. But numbers do not care about charm. After she left, I checked the locks. I stood at the bedroom door and watched my daughter breathe. I went back to the desk and wrote a short message to myself. Do not chase him. Build the case. Protect the child. Keep moving. I turned off the light. The room went dark. My phone buzzed again. A second unknown number. This time the message included a photo. A parking lot near our daughter's school. The timestamp was earlier that afternoon. The text under it read, "Bring her next time and see who meets you." I felt the cold return. I took a breath so slow it hurt. I forwarded the text to a new address Mara had already sent. I added 2 words. For record. At 6 in the morning an email hit my inbox from a board assistant. The subject line read, "Agenda change." The body was a single sentence. Emergency investor briefing moved to tomorrow at noon. Nicole is requested to attend. I stared at my name on their agenda. If I went, I could end his story in the only room he respected. If I went, I could trigger the threat that had just arrived. Morning light did not soften the words from last night. Just a wallet. They sat in my chest like a stone. I brewed coffee I did not drink and opened the folder again. Paper steadied me. Paper did not lie. At 8, Claire arrived with a legal pad and a face that meant action. Facts first, she said. Feelings later. I read each line out loud. Dates. Amounts. Withdrawals that matched nights he claimed to work late. The midnight transfer of $250,000. No memo. A shell company I had never seen. We freeze it today, Claire said. Call Mara now. Mara answered on the 3rd ring. Calm voice. No drama. Bring everything, she said. We file an emergency petition and request an ex parte freeze. Do not tell him. Do not hint. You will be here in 40 minutes. We packed the folder. Claire drove. I watched the sidewalks like someone expecting a shadow to step out. Mara's office sat on the 10th floor of a quiet building. The waiting room smelled like pencils and order. Mara shook my hand and opened the file. She moved through statements at a steady pace. There is a pattern, she said. Test withdrawals. Then larger transfers. Then a move to a shell with no business purpose. This meets the standard. She looked up. Do you want this today? Yes, I said. The word felt like a lock turning. Her paralegal printed exhibits while Mara dictated the motion. The language was clean. No adjectives. Only facts. Amounts written in full words. Dates in long form. A short declaration that marital funds were at risk of dissipation. A request to freeze the transfer and any linked outflows. We filed at the courthouse. The clerk stamped our motion and carried it to a judge. 15 minutes stretched like a rope. I watched the second hand. I counted the breaths. Then the clerk returned with an order that bore a seal. The judge had granted the freeze. The account tied to the shell was locked. No one could move a cent outside. The air felt sharper. Claire squeezed my hand once. He will feel this by lunch, she said. He did. At 12:20 his name lit my phone. I let it go to voicemail. His message was clipped. My card declined. My partner called. $250,000 are frozen. What did you do, Nicole? I hit call back. I protected our money, I said. That is business reserve, he snapped. You have no right. Our money, I repeated. A judge disagrees with you. Silence. Then a softer tone. Come talk. We can fix this. You are overreacting. No, I said. Not without counsel. The call ended hard. My hands shook for a second, then they stilled. He was not used to doors that did not open when he pressed. When I reached home, my office told a new story. A drawer forced. Files moved. A portable drive missing. The window latch bore a bright scrape. Someone had searched, not stolen. Someone wanted the proof. I called Claire. She called Jack, the investigator. He arrived with a camera, gloves, and a penlight. He photographed the latch, dusted the desk, and logged times. This was careful, he said, but not clever. They want you rattled. Keep going exactly as planned. A text arrived while Jack worked. Unknown number. Stop now. Or worse next time. I saved it. I forwarded it to Mara with the subject for record. She replied within minutes. File to case notes. Logging threat. Jack made calls. By evening he had a statement from a boutique hotel concierge. 3 late check-ins over 6 months. My husband and a woman with a coral bracelet. Danny, the forensic accountant Mara trusted, traced card authorizations across those nights. The ledger she built matched the rhythm I already felt. Personal benefit disguised as business. We mirrored everything to a secure server. We placed paper copies in tamper-evident envelopes. We labeled each exhibit by hand. We rehearsed a single sentence for tomorrow. These are the facts. That line was my anchor. Mara outlined the next steps. You will enter the investor room. Hand the packet to the chair. State your line and step back. No argument. No extra words. The freeze order speaks. The exhibits speak. Let the board ask him for answers. Claire handled security. 2 friends would sit near the lobby. Harris, a retired detective Mara trusted, arranged a patrol near my block and near school pickup. We changed the route for my daughter. We shared a code word if anything felt wrong. Threats escalated at dusk. A photo of the school gate arrived with a timestamp. The caption read, "Bring her tomorrow and see who waves." I felt heat rise and then fall into ice. Claire called Harris. He spoke like steel. We moved the pickup. We watched the corners. We keep to plan. Night came slow. I ironed a plain black dress. I laid out the packet. I kissed my daughter's head and watched her sleep. I stood at the window and counted the streetlights. Fear walked in circles and then sat down. Resolve stayed standing. At 6 in the morning, a message from a board assistant hit my inbox. Agenda confirmed. Noon start. Nicole will be recognized at the top of the meeting. The words looked unreal. The room I was about to enter had been the stage of his favorite triumphs. Today it would be the stage for facts. At 10, Mara handed me the sealed packet and a copy of the order. If anyone tries to block you, she said, ask the chair to read the order out loud. Claire checked the hallway. Jack texted that the concierge would answer if called. Danny sent a final note. Server mirror ready as backup. Do not release unless he smears you. We stepped into the elevator. The ride felt long. I watched the numbers climb and spoke my line in my head. These are the facts. The doors opened to glass, light, and the soft hum of money. The assistant at the desk glanced up and froze for a heartbeat. Miss Nicole, she said. They are assembling. Her eyes flicked to the packet. She knew. Everyone knew something was coming. We walked toward the boardroom. I saw my husband through the glass. Charcoal suit. Easy smile. Hands on the back of a chair as if he owned the oxygen. He saw me and did a small double take. He tried a grin. It did not touch his eyes. I pushed the door open. Conversations thinned. Chairs creaked. The chairman gestured. Miss Nicole, he said. You asked to be recognized. I did, I said. I placed the packet in front of him. These are the facts. He broke the seal. He read the freeze order first. His brows moved. He turned a page. He looked up at my husband. The room did not breathe. My phone buzzed in my hand. Unknown number. A single sentence scrolled across the screen. Leave the room now or your child leaves school with us. I lifted my eyes from the screen to the chairman's face. He was reaching the page with the transfer. The investors leaned in. My husband's smile thinned to nothing. I had to choose in one heartbeat. Step back and protect, or stand firm and let the truth detonate. The boardroom froze when the chairman's eyes narrowed at the packet. My husband shifted in his chair, but I held my phone under the table. The message about my daughter burned like acid. Leave the room now or your child leaves school with us. I locked my jaw, tapped the screen and sent it to Mara. She met my eyes across the table. One nod. Harris had my daughter. She was safe. The threat was noise. I stayed seated. The chairman read. He motioned for silence. Papers turned. My husband tried to laugh. This is ridiculous, he said. She's staging theatrics. But when the chairman raised the freeze order, the tone of the room shifted. Carver, the oldest investor, cleared his throat. 250,000 frozen. Unauthorized transfer. This is serious. He tapped the table. My husband's hands tightened on the chair. I left the room with Mara after the chairman called for a short recess. In the hallway, Jack leaned against the wall with a fresh folder. "We got more," he said. He flipped it open. Printed screenshots. Emails between my husband and the shell company registrar. Dates. Wire instructions. All traced. Mara scanned. "We hold this back for court," she whispered. "But if he lies again, we release." She slipped the pages into her briefcase. Back at the table, my husband pushed a counterpacket across. His lawyer announced, "These documents show legitimate business expenses." But Danny had anticipated this. She had flagged the invoices already. Each showed consulting with no services described. One date matched the boutique stay. Another matched a weekend in Miami I had never known about. "Who approved these?" the chairman asked. My husband stammered. He gestured vaguely at his partner. "The board knew," he said. Carver shook his head slowly. "We did not." His eyes cut sharp. "Explain." The investors whispered among themselves. Phones buzzed with incoming messages. Markets responded fast to whispers. My husband's empire cracked in real time. Mara leaned to me. "Stay still. Let the weight land." The chairman turned to me. "Mrs. Nicole, do you have more evidence?" "Yes," I said. My voice was steady. "We have receipts. Witnesses. Hotel footage. Dates and times matching the transfers." I placed one photograph on the table. A still of him with the woman, her coral bracelet visible. This was billed as a business dinner. The room went still. My husband's face drained color. He slammed his fist lightly on the table. "This is invasion of privacy." Carver's reply was cold. "This is breach of trust." Mara slid the freeze order closer to the chairman. "The court acted already. We will present the full evidence in proceedings. Today is courtesy." My husband snapped. "Courtesy? You think humiliating me in front of my board is courtesy?" He rose, but two security staff entered quietly. They did not touch him. They only stood behind his chair. The signal was enough. He sat. I checked my phone. A new message appeared. This time not a threat. A single line from Harris. "She's safe. Stay focused." Relief coursed through me like electricity. The chairman closed the folder. "We will appoint an independent auditor immediately. Until then, all accounts are suspended. Mr. James, you are relieved of discretionary authority." He used my husband's name with finality. Gasps rose around the table. My husband leaned forward, his voice a hiss. "You will regret this, Nicole." I met his eyes. "No. These are the facts." The chairman dismissed us. Investors spilled into corners, whispering, dialing phones. Carver approached me. "This will make headlines," he said. "Are you prepared?" "Yes," I said. "I am prepared." In the hallway, Mara whispered. "He will fight dirty now. This was only round one." Jack handed me a flash drive. Pulled security footage from his office. He met her there last week. The registrar visited too. "You will want to see this." I slid it into my purse. The packet in my hand felt heavier than it should. Outside, cameras flashed. News traveled faster than footsteps. My husband stormed to a waiting car. He shoved past microphones, shouting words about betrayal and false evidence. Reporters turned lenses to me. I kept walking. I said nothing. Mara raised her hand to shield my face. That night, the story broke online. Headlines split in two. Investor darling faces fraud freeze, and wife accuses CEO of secret transfers. Comments spiraled. Friends texted. Strangers speculated. My phone buzzed until the battery died. Claire turned off the TV. "This is only the start," she said. "They will dig everywhere." "They should," I replied. "I have nothing to hide." At midnight, a new email arrived in my inbox. No sender. No subject. Just an attachment. Clicked it. It was a video. My husband laughing with the woman in the coral bracelet. In the corner of the frame, a man I recognized, one of his partners. They toasted glasses. The audio caught a single phrase from my husband's lips. "She will never see it coming. She thinks she's safe." I stared at the frozen frame. My husband and his mistress smiling. His partner at the same table. Proof not only of betrayal but conspiracy. And tomorrow the board would ask who else knew. The video replayed in my mind all night. His laughter, the coral bracelet glinting, his partner leaning close. Every frame was another blade. Betrayal was not just private. It was strategic. He had help. By dawn I was ready. Claire brewed strong coffee and spread notes across the table. We cannot just react, she said. We need allies who know how to stand and fire. Mara arrived at 7. Her hair was pulled back, her briefcase already full. She watched the video twice silent. Then she closed the laptop. This is bigger than a cheating husband, she said. This is fraud with an audience. We need an investigator, a forensic team, and someone inside his board. Jack leaned against the counter, arms crossed. He had brought a new folder. I pulled badge logs from his office building, he said. The mistress visited 3 times under a guest pass. The registrar showed twice. Both logged in as consultants. He dropped copies on the table. Your husband signed them in himself. Mara scanned. Good. That ties him directly. We will need affidavits from the security staff. She looked at me. Nicole, you have to decide. Do we keep this controlled for court, or do we prepare for him to smear you first? I did not hesitate. Prepare for everything. Claire's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Aunt Marianne, she said. She heard the news. She stepped into the hall. I heard low murmurs. When she returned, her face was set. The family is split. Some believe him. Some believe you. Marianne says the in-laws are calling you hysterical. I felt the heat rise, but Mara shook her head. Let them talk. Court does not run on gossip. But be ready. He will use family voices to break your confidence. Jack slid another paper forward. Surveillance at the boutique hotel. Clear footage of him checking in with her. Time-stamped. He wore his wedding band. She held his arm. He tapped the still photo. This is not hearsay. This is fact. Mara nodded. We will introduce it if needed. For now, keep it sealed. The morning blurred into planning. Harris came by to brief us. Your daughter's school has extra patrols. Routes are rotated. She is safe. He leaned closer. But Nicole, they want you rattled. Do not let threats change your path. I swallowed hard. She is my path. Harris nodded once. Then stay strong for her. By noon, we moved to Mara's office for strategy. She drew a timeline on a whiteboard. Transfers. Trips. Board meetings. Each line matched to receipts and footage. The investors will ask questions again, she said. This time we give them clean answers. No emotion. Only fact. You are not the wife with hurt feelings. You are the partner who can read the numbers. Claire added tabs to the folders. Jack pinned photos to the board. Danny called in with her analysis. The shell company links to 3 others formed under the same agent. Combined, they pulled over $500,000 in 1 year. All funded by accounts your husband had access to. Mara looked at me. Do you understand what this means? Yes, I said. It means he was not just cheating. He was stealing. The room went silent for a moment. Then Mara spoke again. Tomorrow we make sure his allies feel the heat too. That night, Claire and I rehearsed. She played the role of the chairman. She asked sharp questions. Why did you file now? Why not earlier? Because I trusted him until trust became a crime, I answered. What do you want from this board? She asked again. Transparency. And protection for our daughter's future, I said. Claire gave a small smile. Good. You sound unshakable. 10 p.m. Another message came. This time from an email with his initials. No subject. No greeting. Just a scanned page. My marriage certificate with a line scrawled across it in red marker. You end this marriage, you end everything. I stared at it until my eyes blurred. Claire took the laptop and closed it. Empty threats, she said. He is already ending everything. You are building something new. I lay awake for hours, listening to the hum of the refrigerator, the creak of the house. Each sound felt like a test. When sleep finally came, it was short. Morning broke with a call from Mara. Her voice was sharp. Nicole, one of his partners just called me. He wants to meet you privately before the next board session. He says he has information. But he does not want your husband to know. My breath caught. Which partner? The one who sat silent yesterday, Mara said. His name is Carver. We arranged the meeting for the evening. As I hung up, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. If you meet Carver, you won't walk out. Carver wanted to meet in private. The text warning against it still glowed on my screen. If you meet Carver, you won't walk out. I read it 3 times, then looked at Claire. She crossed her arms. It could be him trying to scare you. Or it could be someone inside his circle who doesn't want Carver to talk. Mara paced. Carver is powerful. If he turns, others will follow. But if this warning is real, you cannot go alone. I will not, I said. We bring Jack. We bring Harris. And we keep the meeting in public. We set it for 7 p.m. at a glass-walled cafe near the courthouse. A place with cameras with people moving constantly with no dark corners. Jack arrived first, blending into the back. Harris sat near the door, newspaper in hand. Claire and I took a table near the window. At exactly 7, Carver walked in. Gray suit, careful steps. Eyes scanning the room before he joined me. He placed his phone face down. Nicole, he said. I am risking much by being here. I nodded. So am I. He leaned close. Your husband promised us growth. But some of us noticed inconsistencies. His personal accounts feed companies we never approved. He told us you signed. That you endorsed every transfer. The anger surged, but I held it down. That is a lie. I signed nothing. Carver nodded. I suspected as much. Which is why I came. The board is restless. If you bring proof, I will side with you. But you must act soon. Tomorrow the investors want clarity. If you wait, he will bury you with counterclaims. Claire leaned in. Why help her now? Carver's eyes shifted. Because he lied to me too. And lies rot partnerships. Jack, watching from the corner, sent me a discreet text. 2 men outside. Black car. Eyes on you. My pulse jumped. I kept my face neutral. We wrapped quickly. Carver slid a flash drive across the table. Internal memos, he said. Emails about moving money without board consent. They were hidden from you. They were hidden from me. Use them carefully. I slipped the drive into my bag without looking. Carver stood, buttoned his jacket and walked out. Harris shadowed him until the black car pulled away. No move. Just presence. Back at Mara's office, we opened the files. Emails filled the screen. Subject lines like alternate funding path and board disclosure unnecessary. Attached were drafts with my digital signature forged. My name copied and pasted. My trust weaponized. Mara exhaled slowly. This is the knife we needed. Tomorrow we file a supplemental brief. We show the board. We show the court. Forgery changes everything. I stared at the forged lines. Each curve of my name twisted. He wanted to erase me and blame me in the same stroke. I whispered. Claire gripped my shoulder. Now you erase his mask. We planned the counterstrike. Mara would file at 9. Jack would authenticate the memos. Danny would cross-check transfers against the forged signatures. Harris would tighten security around my daughter's school. Claire would stand by me at the board session. At midnight, another text came. You think allies make you strong. They make you visible. We see every step. Attached was a photo. Me at the cafe window, speaking to Carver. The shot was taken from across the street. I felt the room tilt. Someone was always watching. Mara closed the laptop. Let them watch. Tomorrow they will see what we show them. And they will not like it. I lay in bed that night, eyes open, listening for sounds that did not belong. The shadows on the wall felt like intruders. But inside a sharper feeling rose. He had forged my name. That was not just betrayal. That was a crime. Morning came. Mara handed me a fresh folder with the supplemental brief. Nicole, this is the turning point, she said. We reveal the forgery in front of the board. And we time it so the press is there to hear. Claire whispered as we entered the building. Once this begins, there's no way back. Are you ready? I tightened my grip on the folder. I was ready the moment he called me a wallet. We stepped into the boardroom. My husband was already there, smiling too broadly. On the table before him sat a thick packet with my name printed across the cover. He slid it forward and said loudly, "Gentlemen, today I present evidence of my wife's fraud." The words hit the room like a hammer. Evidence of my wife's fraud. He said it loudly, with a smile that dared the board to look at me like a criminal. He pushed the packet toward the chairman as if it were a gift. The chairman frowned and opened it. Inside were printed bank transfers, invoices, and signed approvals. My name at the bottom of every page. Nicole. My handwriting faked with almost surgical precision. My chest tightened, but I kept my face still. I let the chairman flip through while murmurs rippled across the table. My husband leaned back, confident. "You see," he said, "Nicole has been using funds under false pretenses. She froze accounts to cover her own mistakes. I tried to protect the company, but she left me no choice but to reveal the truth." I felt Claire tense beside me. Mara leaned slightly forward, calm as stone. "Mr. James," she said evenly, "before this board acts on these pages, I request that the originals be examined by a handwriting expert. Because these signatures," she slid one page to the light, "are not Nicole's. They are forged." Gasped. My husband laughed. "That is what every guilty party says. Forged. Really?" But Carver spoke up. His voice carried weight. "James, yesterday you told us Nicole approved every move. But these memos," he tapped the packet Mara carried, "show something else. Drafts with Nicole's name pasted in. The timestamps do not match the transfer dates. Explain that." The room shifted. Doubt spread like smoke. My husband's eyes flickered just for a second. He tried to cover it with a grin. "Nicole manipulated Carver. He has always had his own agenda." I rose. My hands did not shake. "If I may," I said. The chairman nodded. I placed Mara's folder on the table. "This is the supplemental brief we filed this morning. It contains the emails from your servers, Mr. Chairman. Drafts where my name was used without my consent. Forged. Attached are logs from the registrar showing edits made by James himself." The chairman flipped pages. His jaw tightened. He turned to my husband. "Is this true?" My husband's lawyer jumped in. "These are circumstantial. Anyone could have fabricated these emails." Mara's tone sharpened. "The metadata has already been verified by our forensic specialist. A copy is mirrored on an independent server. The court will see it tomorrow. But I thought your investors deserved to see it today." The investors leaned in. Phones came out. Screens glowed as emails were cross-checked. The hum of whispers grew louder. Then the unexpected pivot hit. A voice from the back. "Excuse me." A woman stepped forward, slim, sharp suit, hair pinned. The mistress. The one with the coral bracelet. She carried a folder of her own. My stomach knotted. What was she doing here? She looked straight at the chairman. "I was told to bring these." She placed her folder on the table. Inside were more invoices, but these were different. They tied her own consulting company to the shell. They bore payments that matched the transfers. The chairman's face darkened. "Why bring this now?" She glanced at my husband, then back. "Because I was promised protection. And now I see where this is going. If he falls, I will not fall with him." My husband's face went pale. "What are you doing?" he hissed. The mistress ignored him. "James used my company as a funnel. He told me his wife signed everything. But the truth is here. He built this mess." The room erupted. Investors demanded explanations. Cameras from the hallway pressed closer. Mara leaned toward me. Her voice was low. "Nicole, this is the pivot. He has lost control of his own accomplice." I felt my heart pound. But I stayed quiet. The board wanted blood. And for once it was not mine. The chairman raised his hand for silence. "We will recess for 30 minutes. When we return, we will decide James's future with this company." As the room cleared, my husband leaned toward me, eyes burning. His whisper was sharp enough to cut. "Enjoy this moment, Nicole. When this is over, you and Claire will regret ever crossing me." The recess ended with tension thick enough to choke the air. Investors filed back in, whispering in tight clusters. Cameras waited outside, pressing against the glass walls like hungry eyes. Claire touched my arm once, a reminder steady. Mara slid the supplemental brief closer to me. The chairman struck the table lightly. We reconvene. Mr. James, you are accused of unauthorized transfers, forgery of your wife's signature, and using company funds for personal benefit. Do you wish to speak? My husband rose. His suit was perfect, his smile rehearsed. Gentlemen, this is a witch hunt. Nicole is bitter about our marriage. She brought her family and friends to fabricate a story. My so-called mistress is a consultant who was paid fairly. These documents, he held up Mara's packet, are lies. The mistress stood abruptly. No, they are not. Gasps filled the room. She raised her voice. He told me Nicole approved everything. He said the money was clean. I see now he forged it all. Her hand shook, but her eyes burned. And I am done protecting him. The investors leaned in. Phones buzzed. Someone muttered, unbelievable. Carver pushed his chair back. James, you lied to us. You forged signatures. You risked our capital. And now your own partner here. He pointed to the mistress. Admits it. My husband's mask cracked. His voice rose. You are all fools. Nicole has always wanted control. She is not a victim. She is the predator. He slammed a fist on the table. I stood slowly. The room fell silent. Predator? No. I am the wife you called a wallet. I am the woman you tried to erase with forged ink. I am the one who froze the account you thought you controlled. And now I am the one who ends your empire. I slid the last piece across the table. A USB drive jack had prepared. The chairman plugged it into the projector. The screen lit up with the video. My husband, laughing with his mistress and his partner, clinking glasses. His voice crystal clear. She will never see it coming. She thinks she's safe. The room went dead quiet. Every face turned to him. His shoulders sagged. The investors had no doubt left. The chairman's voice cut through the silence. Effective immediately, James is suspended from all duties. An independent auditor will review every transaction. If forgery is confirmed, we will file criminal charges. Mr. James, security will escort you out. 2 guards stepped forward. My husband's face twisted. Nicole, he spat. You will regret this. I did not flinch. No. You regret underestimating me. As security led him out, reporters burst into the hallway. Flashes lit the room. The story was out. His empire collapsed in front of the very people he had tried to impress. The mistress looked at me once, almost pleading. I said nothing. She had chosen her side long ago. The chairman turned back to me. Mrs. Nicole, the board thanks you for bringing this evidence. The court will handle the rest. I nodded, calm on the surface, though my pulse still thundered. The execution was complete. He was finished. As we left the building, Claire's phone buzzed. Her face went white. She handed it to me. A message glowed on the screen. This isn't over. You froze my money, but I still know how to hurt you. The words on Claire's phone burned into my eyes. This isn't over. You froze my money, but I still know how to hurt you. For one heartbeat, the noise of reporters and flashing cameras outside the boardroom faded into nothing. My husband was gone from the room, but his shadow still pressed against me. Mara snapped into action. Forward that message to me now. I'll add it to the record. If he continues this, it becomes harassment, and a judge will lock him down tighter than any board could. Claire hit send. Harris appeared at our side, his hand on my shoulder, steadying. Security is with your daughter, he said low. She's safe, but I don't like this escalation. He's unpredictable. Reporters swarmed as we left the building. Nicole, did you know about the mistress? Nicole, is the marriage over? Nicole, do you feel vindicated? Their questions snapped like bullets. I kept walking, Mara shielding me with her briefcase, Harris cutting a path through the crowd. Back at Mara's office, Jack loaded the newest evidence onto a secure server. We'll file everything by morning. He'll have no wiggle room left. He handed me another flash drive. Mirror copy. Keep it somewhere he'll never look. I held it tightly. Every piece of proof felt like armor now, but even armor has cracks. That night, as I tucked my daughter into bed, she asked quietly, Mommy, why are there cameras outside? My throat closed, but I forced a steady smile. Because people are paying attention. And when people pay attention, the truth comes out faster. She nodded, not fully understanding, but it was enough. Later, Claire and I sat at the kitchen table with Mara and Jack. The news was already everywhere. Headlines screamed about fraud, forged signatures, and a CEO suspended. My husband's face was on every screen, once polished, now broken under words like scandal and betrayal. Claire exhaled slowly. The investors will never trust him again. Mara leaned forward. But don't relax. This is the moment he's most dangerous. Cornered men make rash moves. Keep your daughter close. Keep phones on. We'll tighten the perimeter. I nodded, but the weight pressed down harder. For years I had been invisible, dismissed as just a wallet. Now every eye in the city seemed fixed on me. At midnight another message came, this time from his lawyer. Short, blunt. Settle quietly or we destroy you in court. Mara read it and almost laughed. They're panicking. They know their evidence won't hold. We will not settle. We push forward. But inside I knew it wasn't just legal threats. My husband wasn't only losing money, he was losing the image that fueled him. And that loss made him dangerous. I stepped onto the porch, the night air cold against my skin. Across the street, a dark car idled. Its headlights off. My pulse spiked. Harris was there in seconds, scanning, noting the plates. The car pulled away, tires whispering against asphalt. Back inside, Harris shook his head. He's watching. He wants you to feel it. Let him. Tomorrow he's in court. By then we'll make sure his threats backfire. I held the flash drive tighter. I wasn't just holding evidence. I was holding his downfall. At dawn, Mara called. Her voice was sharp. Nicole, he's moving fast. He just filed a countersuit accusing you of fraud and theft. And the hearing is in 4 hours. If we're not ready, he'll twist the story before the judge. The courthouse steps felt taller that morning. Reporters lined the path, shouting questions, cameras flashing like lightning. Claire walked close beside me, her hand brushing mine, steadying me with silent strength. Mara strode ahead, her briefcase a shield, while Jack carried the folders that contained the truth. Inside, the judge's chamber smelled of old wood and iron discipline. My husband was already seated with his lawyer, his suit crisp, his hair slicked, but his eyes betrayed a sleepless night. He glanced at me once, smirking, then turned away as though I were beneath him. The judge opened with sharp efficiency. We are here to address Mr. James's emergency countersuit against his wife, Nicole. Allegations include misappropriation of funds and forgery. The words twisted, but Mara rose immediately. Her voice was calm, precise. Your Honor, those very accusations are projection. The evidence will show that Mr. James forged Nicole's signature, siphoned $250,000 through a shell company, and attempted to blame her. We have affidavits, metadata, and third-party confirmation. In addition, we submit exhibits demonstrating threats sent directly to Nicole. The judge raised a brow. Proceed. Jack cued the projector. Screens lit up with side-by-side comparisons. My genuine signature versus the crude digital paste on his documents. Fonts mismatched. Timestamps clashed. It was undeniable. Then came the video. My husband, clinking glasses with his mistress and partner, laughing as he said, "She will never see it coming. She thinks she's safe." The room stilled. Even his lawyer looked shaken. The judge turned slowly toward him. Do you wish to respond to this? His voice cracked. That video was edited. Staged. But the mistress was there, subpoenaed at Mara's request. She stood, hands trembling but voice clear. No, Your Honor. That video is real. I was there. James told me Nicole signed everything. He lied. Gasps rippled through the chamber. My husband's face turned red. His composure shattered. Mara pressed the advantage. Your Honor, we also have emails provided by Mr. Carver, a board member. They show internal attempts to disguise the transfers and erase Nicole from the financial trail. This is not misappropriation by her. It is calculated fraud by him. The judge leaned back, silent for a long moment. Finally, his gavel came down. The countersuit is dismissed with prejudice. Mr. James, given the evidence presented, the court will move forward with a formal review of criminal charges. Until then, You are barred from accessing joint accounts and prohibited from contacting your wife outside legal counsel. The sound of the gavel echoed like a final note. My husband's lawyer tried to argue, but the judge cut him off. Save it for trial. I exhaled for the first time in hours. Claire gripped my hand. Mara's eyes flicked with satisfaction. Outside, reporters swarmed again, shouting, "Nicole, do you feel vindicated? Nicole, what's next for you?" I said nothing. The truth was enough. The world had seen. The court had ruled. His empire was broken. That evening, I tucked my daughter into bed again, whispering promises of safety. She asked, "Mommy, is Daddy coming home?" My heart ached, but I told her gently, "Not tonight, and not for a long time." Later, alone in the quiet, I sat at the desk where this began. The folder of evidence lay closed now, but the weight of it lingered. Betrayal had cut me open, but truth had stitched me back together. At midnight, my phone buzzed with one last message. No threats this time. Just 6 words. "You think you've won. Watch tomorrow." The message glowed on my screen. "You think you've won. Watch tomorrow." For a moment, fear stirred again. But this time I didn't let it settle. I had faced his lies, his forgeries, his threats. Tomorrow no longer belonged to him. By morning, the headlines made it clear. CEO suspended amid fraud scandal. Wife exposes $250,000 transfer. His name was plastered across every financial site, every news broadcast. Reporters hounded his lawyer. Investors scrambled to distance themselves. His image, once polished, untouchable, was now a warning. Claire brewed coffee and slid the paper across the table. "He's finished," she said simply. Mara confirmed it with one call. "The district attorney is reviewing charges. Fraud. Forgery. Potential jail time. Nicole, your role is over." You stood up and the truth carried the rest. Relief came slowly. Not in a flood but in quiet waves. My daughter laughed freely again, her world no longer shadowed by whispers. Harris reported that the dark car had vanished from our street. Jack returned the last mirrored copy of evidence. The war was over. But inside me something new had taken root. For years I had been treated as invisible, just a wallet, as he once sneered. Now I understood my own strength. I was more than his shadow. I was more than his convenience. I was the reason his lies had collapsed. The last time I saw him was in the courthouse hallway. His eyes were hollow, his voice low. "Nicole," he said, "you ruined me." I looked him in the eye. "No, you ruined yourself." I just turned on the lights. I walked past him without looking back. That night, I sat with Claire on the porch while my daughter slept peacefully inside. The air felt lighter, free. "You did it," Claire said softly. I nodded. He thought divorce would destroy me. He thought I was powerless. But I showed him and everyone that the truth is the strongest weapon. And to those listening now, to anyone who has been silenced, underestimated, or dismissed, hear me. You are not invisible. You are not weak. When betrayal comes, you can fight back with facts, with courage, with the quiet power of refusing to bow. I am Nicole. I was called just a wallet. But I walked into the fire and I walked out free. Stronger. Smarter. Unbroken. And to those who ever doubted me or anyone like me, remember this. Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it signs the papers, freezes the accounts, and lets the truth burn the lies to ash.